Do you know what chapter we will look at today?
Yes, it's the end of chapter 9. So it's perfect competition.
Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. So today we finish chapter 9 and yeah, we should be able to start chapter 10 next class. So I will go ahead and again do some graphs on my own, and then we can go back to the slides and finish the chapter. So let me share my screen real quick. So this is just a reminder of what we did last time. So we were asking 4 questions, and it's good that we ask them in this order because yeah, it makes sense to analyze it in this order. For instance, before a firm decides to produce or not produce, it has to know, well, if I produce, how much profit do I make? Do I make a profit or a loss, for instance? So this is why the first question is, if I decide to produce, to open today, will I make a profit? Will I make a loss? Second question, will a firm choose to produce or stay closed? And third question, what is the firm's supply? So what is the supply? Well, it's the relation between how much a firm or the market, but here a firm decides to produce and the market price. We have the market price in our analysis and we have the firm's decision. So it's possible to derive a firm's supply with this. And then first question, what is the firm's profit? So the firm's profit is this, it's total revenue minus total cost. Pi is the total profit, TR is total revenue, TC is total cost. Yes, and since we are in perfect competition, then the price is taken as given. So it's a small firm that looks out there at prices and knows, okay, this is the price today, so this is the price I'm going to set. I have no choice. If I set a price too high, then I'm going to lose on my customers. If I set a price too low, well, I would have as many customers as I like. But if I set the price at, if it costs me $5 to produce each unit, and I set the price at $1, fine, I get as many customers as I like, but I lose money doing that. So I wouldn't want to do it. So this is why we see that the price is, you cannot change it. So all you can do is decide how much to produce, what is the quantity produced. So question one, how much do we produce? Well, what we usually say is that the marginal cost, so this is in the short term, this is how production, this is price, and we say that price is set. So however big or small the production is, the price doesn't change. What does change is the marginal cost. What is the marginal cost? It's the increase in cost. Yeah, it's delta total cost, so the increase in total cost divided by the increase in quantity, delta Q. So what we're saying is it goes down initially and then it may start to increase again. What does that reflect? Here it reflects the fact that if my firm is a certain size, then if I just have one or two employees, for instance, then they might not be too efficient, but then I increase my production more, then they get more efficient. So the marginal cost for an additional unit of production is quite small. But then I hit the volume, the normal volume of my firm, and the marginal cost starts increasing again. So what is my optimal decision? Well, the question is, do I produce one unit or not? If I'm here, then producing an extra unit will cost me this amount, but will bring me as extra revenue the market price. So the market price is higher than the cost for producing that unit. So it makes sense to produce more. Whereas if I'm here, then does it make sense to produce even more? No, because here it means that, so imagine my marginal cost is 7. So I'm producing, what would be, I'm producing pencils. So if high-end pencils, but if my marginal cost of producing my high-end pencils is $7 and the market price is $4, then I shouldn't produce even more because you see my marginal cost gets even farther away than the market price. So what is the optimal production side? We have shown that it is price equals market cost, marginal cost. So that's exactly here. So this is what determines how much the firm is going to produce. What is the price? What is the marginal cost? And this, so if you see this in an exercise, so you ask yourself how much the firm produces, then you just check where is the price crossing the marginal cost on its way up. So it's here. We had discussed this last time, and we said that if here would be the worst decision, because here marginal cost is higher than price, and so I lose money, and then here in this territory I start making money, and here I start losing money again. So the best is to stop right here. All right, so this is just a follow-up from last time. Now, second slide. Thank you. All right. All right. And then we end up here. Second question was, will the first firm produce or not? Well, now we have established how much, if the firm wants to open, it will produce. It will produce here, Q star. And then the question is does it make sense for the firm to produce or not? Well, it depends. Do I waste money if I open my firm or not? So this doesn't tell me that. Well, I know that if the marginal cost is always higher than the price, there's just no way I'm going to open. But then the question is, do I make money by opening up, or do I not make money? So here is how we think about it. So again, we check at the profit and we ask ourselves, is our profit higher or lower? So I can ask a second. So in other words, is the profit higher by opening or remaining closed? So producing. So here is how we decompose the profit by producing. So look at the way we can decompose it. So total cost is what? Is a combination of variable cost and fixed cost. The difference between the two is that the fixed cost, I have to pay it whether or not I produce, whereas variable cost, I do not have to, of course, pay it, since I decide not to open my firm. So I'm not going to hire anybody, or not hire, but ask anybody to come to work, for instance. And here is how I can decompose it. So here we have price times quantity, Q star, minus variable cost multiplied by Q star divided by Q star. So I didn't change anything. It's like multiplying by 1. But note the following: variable cost divided by Q star is average variable cost. And then what I can do is so put Q star in front of everything, and I get the following, so that the profit is equal to the quantity produced multiplied by price divided by average cost minus fixed cost. So this is the profit I will make if I stay open today. And if I decide to not open, so what will I get as a profit? Then I don't produce anything, so Q star is 0, but I still have to pay for all the fixed costs that my firm have to go through. So for instance, I have to pay my taxes, my land rent, or my rental if I rent a building, for instance. So this is, or electricity just to, to keep heat on. So this is all costs that I still have to pay even if I'm not producing anything. So then my profit is going to be minus the fixed cost. And then the question is this profit higher than that profit? How do I see it? Well, the question is at Q star, will P, so the only difference is this term there. So will P minus average variable cost be positive or negative? So in that case, so this is the average variable cost. So you see that at its minimum, it's crossed by the marginal cost, as we'd seen previously. So imagine we're in this situation with Q star here. So would that firm decide to open or not?
Yes, because the price is above the average variable cost.
Yes, exactly. So this is the total revenue I make from selling my units today. And I see that this total revenue I make is positive. So it means that whatever fixed cost I had to pay by opening and selling the Q star units, I'm going to make up for it. Now, is it enough? Is it not enough? So that is the final question we're going to ask ourselves today. All right, so in this case, variable cost, so P minus AVC at Q star is greater than 0 at Q star. So it is, or yeah, so the firm is positive, yeah, surplus by opening, setting star units. So surplus is something that we've talked a bit about before. So what is the definition of surplus? It's always, if you're the firm, it's the difference between the price that you have to pay and the cost to produce the units. And it just so turns out that you have two ways of, I'm not going to go there. It's an introductory class, so let's just stick with that. Yeah, there are so many things I could say, but yeah. So then last question that, yeah. Okay, yes, last question that we, oh yeah, so sorry, third question that we can ask now is, what is the supply of the firm? Well, the supply of the firm is the link between the market price and the quantity produced. Do we have a link? Well, yes, we know that if the market price is this price there, for instance, then the quantity produced is this. And we know that if the market price becomes too low, well, at some point it will be under the average variable cost, and the firm will decide to not produce. So what is then the link between the price and the Q star? Well, yeah, let me show you a second situation. Imagine that the price was not this price, but that it was this price. All right. If the so this, let's just see it's P1. Okay, let's just see this is P2. So at P1. Then at P2, what would be the production? Well, it's always the same. It will be at the place where market marginal cost crosses market price. So this would be Q2. Not Q1, for instance. Q2. And what do we see? Well, of course, at P2, P minus average cost here, price is there, average variable cost is here, so it's negative. Is smaller than 0 at Q2 star. So the firm does not make a positive profit, or the firm would make negative. Surplus by opening and selling Q2 units. So it stays closed. All right. So we so this is P1, and we put P1 here. So we see that we have all these decision. If the market price is P1, this is what the firm produces. If the market price is P2, then the firm produces 0. So in the end, what is the quantity that the firm will choose to produce? Well, I can show you the demand of the firm. So this will require some talent to draw it properly. Let me use black. So the supply of the firm would be this. So it will be, yeah. So I think I'm going to draw it in a section because it's too complicated. Okay, black. So what is the minimum price for which the firm will start producing? It's this price here. So let me call this P-min. Maybe there's a name in the notes. I don't know. Why is it P-min? Because it's the lowest point at which the price crosses the average variable cost. So we can see that from 0 to P-min, the quantity produced is 0. And then at P-min, I start producing, I will be producing this quantity here. And then the quantity will be determined by what? By the marginal cost. So it will be, so I'm going to try to show this best I can. All right. Yay. So this is the first supply. It is 0 if the price is below min, and it is a quantity such that price equals marginal cost if price is above. All right, so that was a bunch of stuff. So questions, comments, uncertainty.
I have a question about the price minimum.
Yes.
What's the difference between that and P2?
Oh, it's just, so the P1, P2, Pmin are just market prices. I don't control them. I just open my window this morning. I look at the world, I see the price. And then if the price is too low, then I think, oh, I'm going to lose money if I open my firm. You see that if the price is, say, P2, there's just my marginal. So if I produce such that the marginal cost equals price, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to essentially be making losses on my units. So I decide, okay, it's not worth it. So I call my employees today. I say, oh, you are on a break, or maybe I still have to pay them. So it's part of the fixed cost. But I tell them that don't come to work. It's just not a good day to produce. All right, and then, but then if the price is, for instance, P1, so yeah, then yes, I could say Pmin is the lowest price at which the firm P1, P2, sites to open. So this is all short term, of course. And then this is the short-term supply. So the firm produces Q equals 0 if the price is below Pmin. Then at Pmin, it jumps to this quantity there. And then the quantity is determined such that the price is equal to the marginal cost. Right.
Sir, I have a technical question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The way you drew it, like on the graph, it's like if at Pmin we could produce any quantity between 0 and like, so
yes.
Shouldn't it be like empty there?
So let me maybe I'll put that in this style. Yeah, because it's really a jump there. So it's if the price is, so imagine that the price Pmin is 10, okay? So if the price, the market price is $9.99, then I'm here. I decide, oh, it's not worth it. I don't open my store. Then if the price becomes $10.01, then okay, good. I decide to produce here. All right. So this is sort of a jump that, you know, it's there's, yeah, it's not that I can choose whatever quantity is. In a sense, if the price is exactly Pmin, I'm totally indifferent between not opening and opening. If I don't open, my profit is minus fixed cost. And if I do open, my profit is what? Is Q star P minus average variable cost minus fixed cost. But what is P minus AVC if I'm just at Pmin? Well, P minus AVC is exactly 0. Yeah. Because P minus AVC 0 is indifferent between opening or not. And so whenever in economics we say that somebody is indifferent between doing something or not, then it's because we can't really predict what the person will do, but it doesn't matter. So here the firm is indifferent between opening or not opening, because if it doesn't open, it pays minus FC. It gets minus FC as profit. And if it does open, it also gets minus FC because P minus AVC is 0. So that's the way it is. All right. Yeah.
I don't understand how the black line is both the P-min and the supply.
So the black line is highlights what the firm does in every possible situation. So the price can be anything. It can be P1, it can be 0. It's determined by outside. And what I'm showing you with the black line is exactly what the firm will choose to do in response to the price. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Other questions? If not, we can just answer quickly the last question, which is, will the firm make a profit or not? So I think this is crowded enough, so I'm going to make another page real quick. Last question. What will the firm profit? So reminder, profit is I equals total revenue minus cost, and this is P times Q star, PQ star, let's just say, minus total cost. And what we had done previously is split the total cost in variable cost and fixed cost. But now the question is, what's the firm's profit? Well, fixed cost is part of it. So average variable cost was what we used to decide whether the firm opened or not. But now to know what the firm's profit is, then we keep the fixed cost inside the total cost. And we can split it this way. So it's PQ minus, again, let's have Q total cost divided by Q. So this is going to be equal to Q times P total cost divided by Q star. And what is total cost minus Q star? It's average total cost, or total average cost. I don't know where how do you say that? All right, so ATC is average total cost. So what does that look like? Let me try it real quick. So I have so let's be optimistic. Let's say we have positive profits. So we have quite a high price. This is P, this is Q. Still need the marginal cost to know if different or not. I'm how much different side to produce. So I know that production is going to be here. This is Q star. And now you may remember that average cost, what does it look like? Because now that's the curve I need. Before I was using average variable cost, but now I need average total cost. So let's have some, let's say purple. What is the average cost when I produce something very, very, very tiny? Somebody remembers? Average total cost.
It's really high.
Yes, because imagine I produce one pencil, but to produce one pencil, I still have to have my pencil factory and all my machines set up. And then I start the machine and I stop at one pencil. So what's the average cost for that pencil? That's humongous. That's incredibly high. The only way I'm making a profit is if I have a very big volume of production to make up for all these fixed costs. So yes, fixed cost, the average fixed cost starts very, very high. And then it, so we can't really see, it's almost infinite initially. And then like average variable cost, the average fixed cost, the average total cost is it's crossed at its minimum by the minimum, the marginal cost. So this is ATC. This is marginal cost. Do I? Oh yeah, I miss P here. Q. And then what is going to be my profit? Well, so in this situation, just to see if you're aware this morning, is it, do I make a positive or a negative profit?
Positive.
Yes, I decide to produce Q star. So let's see at Q star whether, so P minus ATC is positive or negative. P is here, ATC is there. So P minus ATC is positive. What is the profit? Well, the profit is exactly this box there. This is my profit. Why? It's total quantity multiplied by the net income I make on every unit sold. Every unit sold makes on average P, its marginal price, its market price, and on average how much. So if I produce say pencils, so on average, how much does each pencil cost me? It's the average total cost. So each pencil here, let's just say it's let's just say these are dollars. So this would be $11, and the average total cost would be $9. So yeah, you can even make so for instance here equals $9. Average total cost equals $7. And let's just say Q star is, so that's 5, 10, 15, 16. So let's just say Q star is 16,000. Let's just say these are thousands of pencils. So 16,000. So can somebody compute the total profit? Oops.
$32,000.
Yes, perfect. It's 16,000 times $9 and $7. Was 32,000. So I'm very happy with my production today. All right. So this is, I'm just going to say this is 9, 6, 7, and this would be 16,000. So that would be my example. But it could be that I'm on that side, and in that case, I wouldn't make profit, I would make losses. But that's the short run. In the short run, maybe I make a profit, maybe I make a loss. All good? Happy?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go back to the slides. So that's, I'm going to post that on the class website, don't worry. So this is, I prefer doing it this way because if you really construct the graph, then you use the equations and you see it where everything is coming from. So that's maybe a bit more mental gymnastics to derive this and to understand how the curves fit. But then when it's done, it's done. Otherwise, if I just start with the slides, then you kind of see something and you don't really know where it comes from. So now you, at least you know where it comes from. Okay. Oh yes, okay. Sorry. Okay. Oh yeah, so they call it the shutdown price. Okay, so here it is. So, all right, so this is so the first 21 slides are all what we've seen so far. It's exactly the same. It's just I made it in my way. But yeah, if you can just reread it to make sure that you understand what's going on. All right. So here we start with the new stuff. So derivation of the competitive industry supply curve. So imagine that here I have an industry that's made of two firms. So I think the results of the midterms are available. But at least that's what I did understand. Wow. So yeah, okay. Could somebody post how on the chat how you find your results? Because I really can't help you. I'm not a student, so I don't know where you find them.
They're not there.
Oh, they're
We
not
don't have
there.
them. No, we don't have them.
Nobody has them. I really did understand people in the
No, sir, I think you have to unlock them.
Oh. Okay, so I'll definitely look into okay, my understanding was that you could see them. Oh yeah, but so my bad if I have to unlock them. Okay, I'll check that after the class. All right. So back to the slides. So if you have a supply curve for one firm, supply curve for a second firm, here it's really stylized. It's not necessarily how it looks like. As we've seen, it looks a bit more choppy, but here we just have two firms there. So if you want to find out what is the supply curve of the whole industry, what you have is to add these two supply curves there. The problem is that you have price on the y-axis and quantity on the horizontal axis. So usually we just add the stuff together this way, but that's not how things work in real life. So in real life, it's a aggregation of firms that respond to the same price. So what you have to do is say you add quantity produced by, so you decide what is the market price today. If it's 3, for instance, then the first firm is going to produce what? 4. And the second firm is going to produce how much? 3. And then what is the aggregate supply curve of the whole industry? Well, you don't add up the prices, you add up the quantities. So the total quantity produced will be 4 plus 3 equals 7. And one thing that may look weird to you is this small kink there. What happened there? Well, it just so happened that here you have only the first firm, which produces from price 1 to 2, because the first firm starts producing at P = 1. The second firm that makes less profit, so it only starts producing at P = 2. Here, of course, it's not going to produce a negative quantity, it's going to produce 0. So you have a sort of jump. Yeah, so you're going to see that here you have only one firm, and then the second firm kicks in. So even though this was smooth and this was smooth, here it looks like there's a sort of kink because the second firm enters the market. So that's a technical issue if you're going to add up the firm of the production of two firms. But yeah, if it's a large market with 10,000 firms, then it doesn't matter. All what you have to remember is to get this aggregate supply, you add up quantities. So on this axis there. All right. Yeah, so this is just Yeah, this is just saying in words what we just said so far. So each firm decides its own production in the short run in response to the price, and we aggregate these at the industry level. Yeah, so as we've seen, so the average total cost here, yeah. All right, so, okay. Yeah, so the profit depends on what? This we've said already. So it depends on whether the price is above the total, the average total cost at the quantity produced. Here it's for firm number 2. If the price is P2, then you set the price equals marginal cost. And if it's just so happens that at that quantity is exactly the point at which it's the average total cost, then it means that the firm number 2 will have the profit exactly equal to 0. Here, in that case, the firm would have a positive profit because at Q3, then price is above marginal average total cost. So yeah, these green box is the positive profit. And here is when there's economic loss. So why? Well, because again, we look at where marginal cost. This is a bit small. Marginal cost crosses the price. So here, and I know then what should I look for profit or loss? It's price minus average total cost. Here, average total cost is above the price, so I know that all in all, I'm going to lose money by, yeah, I'm going to make negative profits.
So, is it possible to go at page 24 because they're saying something, but the graph is like different? I don't know.
Marginal cost equals marginal revenue cost. So what's bothering you here?
Well, they're talking about P1, but on the like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. It's so yeah. This clicks. Okay, it looks like they just copy pasted the wrong. Okay. Yeah. So thanks for saying that. I haven't. So let me correct this. Yeah, good catch. I was mostly looking at the graph, but yeah. So. If the price is P3, then the firm produces Q3, and at Q3, P3 is greater than the average total cost. So the firm makes a short run positive. Yeah, that so it's there. Be careful because in the first half of the slides there are other mistakes that. So when I said that there were a bunch of mistakes, that was why I thought I couldn't use that. So every time you see price above average total cost, there's a profit. And if the price is below average total cost, there's a loss. That's thanks for pointing that out. All right. Yeah. So entry and exit. So what happens? So let's talk a bit about capitalism, how it works. So what's the difference between a market economy and some other economies? Well, there are many differences, but one is that there is freedom to do whatever you like to make money. So one of these decisions is enter the market or leave the market. So imagine that there's a market for pencils, and BIC is making a huge amount of profits with their pencils because or that's not BIC. I don't know which pencil it is. Scripto, yes, Scripto pencils. But then I realized that I'm a genius and I have a great idea for a better pencil that is going to be as good as BIC or Scripto pencils, but cheaper to produce. So what can I do? Well, it's free market, so I can enter the market. And if Scripto pencils are sold at $10, then I can say, okay, well, I'm going to do exactly the same, but sell my pencils that are as good as Scripto pencil, not $10, but so imagine it costs me $5 to produce the pencil. So I'm going to sell them at $7 and make a $2 profit on every pencil sold. So in the long run, I'm going to make a killing with it. And since everybody is free, we're all free of buying anything we like, then we're going to say, oh, BIC pencil or Scripto pencil are too expensive. This new type of pencil is better. So let's go and buy that. And you see that whenever somebody has some new idea to invent something that's cheaper or more efficient or better, then they can try to squeeze in the market. So that's obviously a case where there's perfect free entry, perfect competition. We're going to see later that if there's imperfect competition, then things are more complicated. And unfortunately, many markets are in imperfect competition. But here we're looking at a perfect case scenario when essentially there is no way for firms to always make a profit. Because anytime you start making a profit, then somebody's going to enter the market and then squeeze you out of your profits. So this is what we're saying here, that if firms make a positive economic profit, then new firms are going to want to enter in this market and essentially steal the profit from these incumbent firms and try to make it for themselves. So in the end, it tends towards zero profit. And very old and mature economies, you can, very old and mature markets, you see that the profit margins are extremely slim. That's something for airlines, especially airlines in the previous decades. So around 2010, so the profit margins were extremely slim, or the car dealerships. It's very hard for them to make a profit on cars because the competition is just so fierce. So that's what happens. And if, on the other hand, then there are too many firms on the market, then they're making a loss. So in the long run, you're going to say? Well, you're going to go to your bank and you're going to say, well, sorry, I know you loaned me $1 million to produce this, and I told you I would make a profit. I'm making a loss, so I'm bankrupt. So, well, I can pay you back whatever I can, but yeah, I'm exiting the market. So this is why, and then again, what will happen if these firms exit the market? Then there are going to be fewer firms, so they are going to be able to slowly but surely rise up their prices and start making a profit again. So that's why in the long run, you don't really see pure economic profits or pure economic losses. The situation always goes back to zero. All right. Yeah, so this is just what I just said. So what happens if the price is above marginal average total cost? In that case, P0 would be too high. So you see that P0 is higher than average total cost, so firms make a profit. And then what happens? Well, new firms enter the market, so the supply shifts, right? And then the price is going to slowly but surely go down because the supply increases. So consumers are not as willing to pay as much as they used to. And it's going to converge to the place where average total cost equals to marginal cost equals to market price. So this situation there, marginal cost equals average total cost equals price, is the long term, the long run, the place where the industry is going. Here, note that it's funny because Q0 increased to Q1 and small q decreased to Q1. What happened? Well, here, new firms enter the market. So each firm in the market will reduce its production from Q0 to Q1. But on the whole, still the whole market production is going to increase from Q0 to Q1 because of these new entrant and firms that enter the market. All right.
Which one, like a new firm enter the market? It's which graph?
Well, so this is from the perspective of typical firm, and it's from the perspective of the market. So here, Q1 is greater than Q0 because new firms enter. Here, Q1 is smaller than Q0 because each in the market reduces its production. Yes, Patrick.
So if I understand correctly, like if we get another firm, the supply goes up, that means the price goes down. And if the price goes under the ATC, that just means that more firms are gonna have to like quit, right?
Yes. But you cannot really make a real story with it, like, oh, two firms went in and then one firm got out, and we don't know. Here, it's just something that's going to eventually happen. Who knows which firm enters, leave, but so Q0 is not, Q0 and small Q0 is not a stable equilibrium because new firms will tend to enter. And Q1 and small Q1 is a stable equilibrium because here all firms make exactly zero profit. So it looks sad if you think about it. Well, I want to make a profit. I want to make money if I start a business. Yes, but everybody else wants to take away your profit. So it's the competition is difficult for firms. And in the long run, you cannot observe a firm that's going to always make a profit or always make a loss. either the firm goes bankrupt and exits, or competitors enter. All right, and this is the reverse. So here we're in a situation where firms were making a loss because average total cost was higher than price P0. So we were here. So what happens is firms leave the industry. Go bankrupt. And so key firms that stay in the market can start producing more. Make a profit. Or actually not, yeah, and not lose money. Because yeah, their profit is, again, if P equals ATC, then their profit is 0. So, right. So yeah, the price of the industry is the break-even price, so at which profit is 0. So they're just able to cover all of their cost, including opportunity cost of capital. So it means what they have to pay back to the bank in interests if they had to borrow to start producing, for instance. So existing firm. All right. Okay, so this is the equilibrium. So at the equilibrium, they are not earning a profit because otherwise new firms would enter. They're not making losses, otherwise they would leave the market. So this is just a summary of what's happening. So each firm must be the minimum point. It's long run average cost. So LRAC, long run average cost. Yeah. Yeah, so in this case, what happens? Well, the price is P0, and so here it looks like firms should be good because the average total cost is equal to the market price equal to the marginal the marginal cost, but this is in the short run. So again, this is my example of the pencil. So it might be that firms in the short run are good enough, they're making a profit, but not necessarily in the long run. In the long run, it's possible that other firms will enter the market and have a bigger production volume such that it's possible for the long run average cost to be below the short run average cost. So what would happen in that case? Well, new firm would enter, with a larger production volume, and they would be able to sell at a lower price. So then these firms that are small would have to exit the market, or they would have to adapt this new technology and start producing a larger volume like these other competitors, such that in the long run, the only situation is that the price is equal to the long run average cost. So yeah, so this is just what you have to take away from this is, even though you look like you might be at equilibrium in the short run, it's you may be at equilibrium this year, but it doesn't mean that in 5 years or 10 years the industry will not have changed. Maybe it's possible to have, say, larger firm that make more money, and in that case you would eventually have to adapt or leave the market. So this is what would happen in the long run. So this really is the perfect equilibrium, what happens in the market. So long run average cost equals short run average cost equals marginal cost equal price. Everything is equal. So in that case, yeah, no pressure for the industry to change. All right. So you might remember these short-run average total cost curves and long-run average cost curves. So that we've seen before. So these short-run average cost curve, average total cost curve were enveloping where the long-run average cost curve is the smallest possible value for all these short-run average total cost curves. So it means that, so what the industry tends to do is always be at the lowest price possible. So in some way, it's a testament to the fact that market economies sort of work well, because it looks like whatever situation you can engineer such that you can produce at a lower price, you're going to try and do it to make profit before your competitors do. But this is always going to drive the price as low as possible. All right. Lastly, change in technology. So if there's a technological development that lowers the cost, it could be that either that makes a product better or that lowers the cost. Then again, these firms would enter the market to steal the market shares of the old industry in place, and eventually they would drive them away if they don't adapt. So this, you might say, is what happens with right now with let's see, example, electric cars slowly taking the sales away. Yeah, so again, it drives the price down. So old technology may continue, but they earn, they will, yeah, they will, let's just say, they will lose money. It seems weird to say they will earn losses, so they will lose money. and eventually exit the market. So let me just, oh yeah, okay, so two slides there. Yeah, so this is a high cost industry. So ATC 1. So here they lose money. Then the medium cost industry, so they're a bit better, but still they lose a bit of money. And ATC 3 are the one that really are able to survive. And you see that, so the price is not dictated by these guys or these guys, because consumers want to pay the least possible amount of money. So if these, so the existence of low cost firms drive price down for all firms, because free entry and perfect competition. So if these firms were not there, then this would be the market price, and these would make no profit, and these would make losses. Now, both of these type of firms do make a loss, and the only one that can make not make a loss is these ones. All right, so what happens when a competitive industry in the long run experience continual decrease in demand for its product? Well, it eventually shrinks away. It will, so they will have to change in some way by changing their equipment, or yeah, or if it's it might be a old industry in one country. And what will happen is, well, there's too much pressure from industry outside the country. So for instance, manufacturing was once a thriving sector in the Western countries like say Canada or US. But now China has eaten away such a large part of it that yeah, they have to relocate their industry there, because consumers like cheap prices. So if China is able to produce it at $5, why would I pay $10 to buy Canadian? It's good to be patriotic and buy Canadian, but at some point you just want to buy at lowest price possible. So same thing with emerging industries. If an emerging industry makes a profit that's cheaper than the other, then it's better. All right, so that's it for chapter 9. We can start chapter 10 next time. And I really apologize. I was sure that now you were able to see your results. So I will definitely make sure that you can before next class. Any question before we finish?
Can you go back to the page 36, like just the one before?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so well, thanks everyone, and I see you. Or you will see me rather Thursday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.